Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Card Talk, a podcast where we spend just a little bit of time talking about cards from Lord of the Rings, the card game. I'm your host, Dave Walsh.
And I'm your giant host, Ted Bannick. And I love talking about cards. And I think this is going to be a bear of an episode.
Barely. I was just going to say you barely like talking about cards.
Not quite. It's going to be a great show. I'm quite excited.
And before we get into the nuts and bolts of the show, let's just quickly recap how everybody out there can stay in contact with us or, consume the Card Talk creations, as we say. We actually obviously have the pod and the videos over at YouTube, but we also have a blog where Matt puts out several items a week. We have that over at cardtalk2018.com, where he keeps up reviewing the cards and then playthroughs and then other analyses, which is a lot of fun. I know he loves his spreadsheets, so Matt keeps spreadsheeting our way through the game as much as he can. We have Micah, who does Second Breakfast. He does playthroughs with us for us over on our YouTube channel, where he has deck restrictions and then plays through scenarios with those decks. He does that every other week or so. And then we have a Patreon where if you want to support the show, it's a little late for this year's swag, but definitely if you want to support us, we would be happy to have you help keep the lights on here at the pod. We have that at patreon.com/cardtalk2018. So I was barely able to get through there, but Ted, what is the giant of the episode that we have today?
Today's card is Giant Bear.
Oh, surprise.
It came in the Fire in the Night or the Arid Myth and Player Card Hero expansion pack. It is a Tactics 5-cost ally with 0 willpower, 4 attack, 3 defense, 4 hit points. It is traded creature Bjorning. It has the text cannot have attachments. It also has an ability ready this action, Ready Giant Bear. At the end of the phase in which you trigger this effect, shuffle a Giant Bear into your deck, limit once per phase. Pow. What do you think of that, Dave?
I love it. Ted, tell me how you use this thing.
Well, bear
okay.
this.
Sneak attack, Bjorning Skin Changer, cheat it into play any way that you want. Pull it back into your hand before it goes into your deck. Call it a day. Good. Gandalf Light.
Episode done. Yes. So obviously, it's a great ally. It's strong. It costs 5, right? 4 attack, 3 defense, and 4 hit points, and it can ready in a pinch. Cheating it into play. A sneak attack is a great target. Bjorn Skin Changer can put this into play, absolutely. And the other way I'll mention is you can put it into play with Elfstone too. Mm-hmm. Really, really great target for Elfstone. And lastly, Radagast Staff. Yeah. It will reduce its cost by 2, which makes it much more reasonable. And then it synergizes with him because then he can quest for free because it's a creature, and then he can pay for it with his own resource pool because it's a creature as well. So those are some of the top ways to get this sucker into play. And then once you do, he's a giant bear. He's going to attack stuff for 4, and you're going to feel good about it.
He's going to defend stuff for 3.
And feel good about that too.
Yeah. Is there a way to ready him between defense and attacks?
So yeah,
it's not like like specifically him. There's the ready all allies in play. That's like Grim Resolve, and there's another one. The Grim Resolve everybody. There's the
he's a good target for Ever Vigilant out of the core set. That's a leadership card that just readies an ally because he's got 4. He can defend, and then you can just ready him and then defend again or attack for 4. Mm-hmm. His stats really support that card. Like giving him an action is worthwhile. And his ability isn't really nice because, like, yeah, you may have, if you played him with sneak attack, you absolutely want to use his ability because he's going away anyway. So might as well just shuffle him back into the deck. I guess he doesn't return to your hand, but
Right.
if you want to play him afterwards, but it's still like I've had him in play, and sometimes you get a shadow card that's like this enemy makes an additional attack, or something goofy like that, and or you need an extra attacker because they got a defense bonus this round. Like, there's reasons where you're gonna like, wow, it's really worthwhile to ready him and say your goodbyes to just get rid of a threat on the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough. I know he's not unique. The giant bear is not unique.
You can have 3 in play.
You can have 3 in play.
3 giant bears,
and that's I don't even want to say the problem. The prohibitive issue with this card is that it costs 5 to bring into play. And so I know that we glossed over it at the beginning. Any high cost ally you want to somehow cheat into play, right? And so, that's why the Bjorning Skin Changer is great. You have to, change into the giant bear, or, like the Bjorning Skin Changer can change into a lot of things, but, a few things. Giant bear is a great option. A very good tail is a good way if you need a giant bear into play.
Yeah, or you cheat him into play and then use him for a very good tail to get another bear into play.
Right. Because a very good tail, if I'm not mistaken, says exhaust up to 2 allies. No, it says exhaust 2 allies.
Yeah, and then you
put up to 2 allies. Right. I knew that there was the up to thing. But the problem, again, as the solo player, it's hard to come up with 5 tactics resources.
I mean, it's like 2 turns worth of natural resource generation, which is a lot.
And that's if you're playing, mono tactics, which playing solo mono tactics is not.
Right.
So, that's why you have to really consider cheating him in. Even, what are those tactics? And I don't play mono tactics, so Hirgon.
I was going to mention, Hirgon can make him play 1 less and then boost his stats,
right?
If you want to,
right,
for a threat raise, which, wow, 5 attack, okay,
4 defense, even, does it boost all the stats?
I'm pretty. Yeah, he does. It
Okay.
boosts all of them. So if you did do that and then you used his ability to ready him, you could take full advantage of the stat raise.
Yeah,
and then you paid a little bit less for him.
Right, and then is Hero Moblung, that's resource generation in tactics. But yes. I don't know, but those are few and far between. So this card, while I love it, is super nichey in the game. I would rather have ally Beorn which can do a whole bunch of things. So I feel like this card is part of the Beorning just butcher attack defense sort of thing. Sure. And of course, Ted, yeah. I get that, I know, the next time I pass it over to you, you're going to say, well, in a battle quest, this guy's great. In a siege quest, this guy's great.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. That. There's no true words that have been spoken. In that case, yep, I'm going to put 3 giant bears in my deck. But again, playing solo, it's hard to get this going without some other mechanic. You don't just slide a giant bear into your deck. And I know at the beginning of the show I said it's like Gandalf Light because it's 4 attack like Gandalf and 1 less defense, same number of hit points. but it's not because Gandalf is neutral and this guy is in the tactic sphere. So it's, it's
Right.
different, and it's a whole different ball game. But
Yeah.
so
I don't know if I've ever paid full price for a giant bear. I don't think I've ever just paid 5 resources. I've always discounted it with the staff
mhm,
or used an elf stone or any of the ways that we just talked about.
right,
And none of those things are too hard because yeah, it's very easy if you have Moblung and Hirgon in your deck to lower the cost to 4. I mean, you're going to collect those extra resources over 2 turns by engaging enemies, and then the giant bears help you fight those enemies.
right,
So there's there's a pretty big deck strategy around like just big tactics allies and having then your heroes support them.
right,
Yeah, and the skin changer, and you can even like pay. You can even use the skin changer. Pay that for 1 with Hirgon, and
right.
then morph him into the bear. So a lot of this. It's yeah. You see that 5 like wow, and then it seems really cost prohibitive, but there's lots of little fun tricks you can do, and then you feel a lot better about getting it into play and feel like you really accomplished something. And then you have it's bear. It's a bear.
I know. Yeah. For however hard this card is to, kind of maneuver into a deck of mine, it's just as fun to play, So like, it's just really good.
Yeah, and
It's
4 hit
fun.
points. So even you can even archery soak with him, until he meets his threshold, and then just attack with him.
Right.
Or when he gets to that threshold, is typically when he does get up to 3. That's when I will trigger his ability
Right.
because I'm like, okay, he'll just soak archery or he'll take damage from defense, and then like, okay, I'm gonna shuffle him into my deck, and then like I'm gonna replay him.
Right.
I'm gonna and again, that can give you benefits if you're playing like with Radagast. Then Radagast can quest again for free if
Right.
you're reducing the cost. Um, so yeah, big beefy ally, and it's cool
funny
when you get him on the
because
table.
if you're a Radicast, if you're if you're a new-ish player and you're playing only revised content, there's not a ton of creatures in the game in revised content because a lot of the creatures are eagles, and a lot of the eagle stuff didn't get reprinted. And so if you're playing Radagast, it's like there's only like this is one of the very few options you have.
They put a couple in that cycle. They
Right.
put some new ones,
There's
and this is one of the
Meneldor, and but
Loyal Hound
Loyal
as
Hound and
well.
stuff. The Wild Stallion. There's some of those, but like to build the creature archetype, this becomes the attacking thing in the archetype when you're building that Radagast.
And it's still a good choice.
Yeah, it is a good choice. Yep.
Yeah. And actually, well, the other ability Radagast staff is to ready a creature.
Right.
So once you get him on the table for 3, you can use the staff to just make multiple attacks or defend and attack in the same round, or multiple defenses if you have
right.
to. And that is quite strong.
Right.
So it's fun. He can't have attachments on his own, which I think is fair considering his high stats to begin with. But you can still target him with certain events that we mentioned. Like we said, Ever Vigilant, and you mentioned one that readies all of them.
Grim Resolve.
Grim Resolve and Strength of Arms readies all allies. Yep. So it's fun if you can find a way to get on the table, which there's plenty that we just mentioned. Give it a shot.
Yep. What about the art? Let me just say that I don't know if you ever saw the movie The Revenant, but this gives me Revenant vibes.
Okay, I have not. Okay. I haven't seen it, but
yeah. So I would not want to come across this giant bear in the woods ever.
Yeah, it's big old bear, and it looks like it's gonna maul you, and It's out in the wilds of Ravanian, so I like it. It's doing its thing.
Okay. Should we ring this guy?
Yeah, let's bring him up.
Okay. So for anybody who's new, or maybe you don't remember or you forgot, we have a highly scientific yet arbitrary system where we rank a card on a scale from 1 to 10, where a 1 is the best card in the game and a 10 is the worst card in the game. So, Ted, I went first last time, so you get to do it first. Yeah. How's it feel to be first?
Feels good. I like it, although I didn't actually give I was so excited to just talk about the card. I didn't give a thought too much to my rating I was going to give it. It's
other than being your nickname in high school, what do you think of Giant Bear?
What do you think? I think he's gonna I think he's gonna fall right in the middle at 5, because it does take the finesse. Like, he is cost prohibitive, so you have to usually combo him with something. And if you're not, like, he relies on another piece to get him out. So if you draw just him in your hand, you're like, now you can get him out with raw resource generation, like Ma Blanc, and if you play Steward of Gondor on a tactics hero, you can do that. But still, you usually have to get one of those cards. You have to pick Ma Blanc, So I'm going to get a 5 because its cost is very high, but it's also worth it.
I mean, that makes sense. And again, for a multiplayer player, for, when you're playing multiplayer, that seems reasonable. You can specialize a little bit more. You can do a lot more fun things. For me, for a solo player, like, this card is fun to play, but the bear just doesn't make it into a lot of decks.
Yeah, it can be probably too slow for that reason.
Yeah,
to get out.
It's slow, and like, if you sneak attack it doesn't stick around, although it's a solution, and you just don't have the resources. And a lot of times you're using those resources playing solo to do a lot of other things. Like to wait 2 rounds to not do anything just to bring out a single attacker is a stretch. And a lot of times I have found when I've played this guy, it's a win more situation. Like, I have enough resources, and so because I'm already winning, and then I bring out the Giant Bear, and now I'm just winning more. Like, it's so
sure.
It's so in that case, while I think the card is a lot of fun to play, I don't think it's very reasonable, especially with the way that I play the game. So I have to give this card an 8.
And 8s aren't great.
Well, I mean, if we're going back to the Dying Ironfoot episode, this an 8 is
never
great.
Never gonna live that one down.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you have it. But yeah, it's always fun to see him hit the table in some fashion. So give it a shot. Let us know what you think.
I was waiting for you to just take us out.
And thank you for listening. Have a great night, everyone.
Do you love the content? Here's what you can do to stay connected. Become a patron. The money collected through Patreon goes into keeping the lights on here at the podcast. We love our patrons, and you can join at many different levels. Visit patreon.com/cardtalk2018. You can subscribe to us, whether you're watching our YouTube channel or you're listening to us in your favorite podcatcher. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications of all our new episodes. Didn't know we were an audio podcast? Find us by searching Card Talk to get access to our 120 plus regular episodes. Didn't know we were a video channel? Find us by searching Card Talk LOTR LCG on YouTube. And there you can find not only our regular episodes, but you can find our bonus playthroughs and other content related to the game. Want to get a hold of Ted, Grant, or myself? Feel free to email the podcast at cardtalk2018@gmail.com.